Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of True Crime Strategic. We got a really interesting true crime mystery for you guys. And this one is going to be one of those high-profile cases that's going to affect the nation. And how many times have I said that in the last few months? It seems like every single case that involves different colored Americans results in divide. This one's shaping up to be that way. We're going to jump into this. We're going to try and cover the facts. We're going to try and keep it as what it is, which is a tragedy where a promising young man had a bright future. You know, we say that all the time. And sometimes people get into stuff and it's like, oh, this person had a bright future, and they really didn't. No, this is one of those instances where the victim actually had a bright future. This young man, Nolan Wells, was about to do D1 football, Division I. That means he has a good opportunity of going to the NFL. By all accounts, he was a very personable young man, a very smart young man, and a very athletically blessed young man. But most importantly, or just as important, he came from a good family. Came from a mother and a father who loved him, who gave him the tools and the skills that he needed to be successful. You can see that. We're going to listen to the parents finally break their silence and talk about this case today. But more importantly, we're going to hear that there's a lot of inconsistencies, ladies and gentlemen, between what we have heard and what actually happened. And one of those inconsistencies is making me believe that this is foul play. That his friends may have either contributed, committed, or covered up a schmurder. Yeah, I said it.
Oh, my God.
Because these inconsistencies are too glaring to pass up. The parents are going to talk a lot about this, but I want to throw two things that have come out recently that is just it's unforgivable. Number one, there was a rumor going out there. Now, but listen, you know what? Let me give you some backstory first before we jump into this, before we watch the interviews. We got a lot of exhibits for you guys today. Nolan Wells, high school senior, about to go to college, D1 school football, very talented young man, goes out with his friends. They go to an island off the coast of Mississippi. They're hanging out. They're meeting girls. This is a popular island for people to go to and hang out. You have to have a boat to go there. This is boat culture, something we don't know about in the Northeast. Everybody has a boat down south. We can't even afford a boat up here in the Northeast. I don't know how they afford their boats down there. Every time I look at a boat, it's like $500,000. They go out there, they hang out, they do what they do, and then that's when things kind of get wonky. Nolan never makes it home. He never gets on that boat, or rather that boat reaches land without Nolan in it. His friends say that he decided to stay on the island and hang out with a girl that he was talking to. This is the first glaring inconsistency. The girl who does not know him from salt. She just started talking to the guy. She met him on the boat, on the island. Cute guy, fit guy, high school football star, about to go to D1 college, wide receiver. Of course, she just met him. She says she has nothing to gain and nothing to lose. Maybe she has everything to gain and everything to lose. She says that's not true. He spoke to me, and then he told me, I'm leaving. I'm going to get on a boat with my friends to go home. That's what she says. So there we have one glaring issue here, that her story isn't matching the story of the friends. Somebody's lying to us. Another glaring hole that we're going to find out when we watch this interview in just a couple seconds with the family is that rumors around the internet. Before I go any further, guys, please hit that like button, support the channel. We have over 100 people watching this live stream right now, only 47 likes. You guys could do a whole lot better than that. Help us get into the algorithm so this show can spread to a wider audience so we can give a voice to Nolan Wells, ladies and gentlemen. Now, another misreported or lie or distraction or misconception, whatever you want to do it, whether you want to be nice or you want to be mean, you choose. It's your choice. It's America, freedom. Is that the friends allegedly gave Nolan's phone and clothing to his parents. Well, his parents is going to come on Good Morning America and say that is not true. That's not true. They were able to get the phone because they tracked it with Life 360 and sent a family friend to say, give us his phone. We know you have it. We're tracking it. It's in your possession. And that is when they were able to get those friends, to get that phone from those friends. That's a whole lot different than I'm coming to your house and say, listen, Nolan was with us, but he decided not to come with us. We don't know where he's at, but here's his phone and here's some of his clothing items. That's a big difference from I had to track you down and force you to give it to me. Then we have one more thing of many things. It appears that two of the friends have lawyered up. I don't know what to think of that. I have no idea. There's a possibility they could have lawyered up because the family retained Benjamin Crump, and Benjamin Crump is a civil rights attorney, and he makes everything about race, so they might be thinking to themselves, well, Benjamin Crump is going to come for us, so we might as well have some type of legal protection, or it could be because they're guilty as sin. Could be that too. We don't know. But before we get to the interview with the parents, I want to show you guys this video that's been circulating on the internet, which is a video of the area that Nolan and his friends were in. This is by that lake. Not that lake, but by that island, rather. Take a look at this. Now, you just heard something, give me my effing phone. It's being reported that people believe that is Nolan arguing with his friends, telling them to give him his effing phone. Now, I've seen two different examples of where Nolan is at. One example says that Nolan is in the middle here. The vast majority of people, however, on the internet are saying that Nolan is over here, arguing with his friends. I've only seen one example where somebody's pointing out saying Nolan is over here. I don't know where Nolan is at. On the other hand, I've seen multiple examples of people saying Nolan is up here arguing for his phone. All right, let's get to the parents and let's see what they have to say about this madness.
Of Nolan Wells. We're joined by his parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, as well as their attorney, Ben Crump. And before we get started, first off, I want to thank you for being here under these circumstances. Know how extremely tough it must be. And we can express how sorry we are for you and your family. And
his mother's very pretty. No disrespect to the husband, of course, the father. I'm giving a compliment from one human to another.
First question, how are you two holding up?
Taking it second by second.
Day by day.
Second by second and day by day, which we all can understand. And I just want to ask you, the friends that Nolan traveled to Horn Island with, they say that he stayed behind voluntarily. Why would he stay behind?
That we cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would.
I don't know why he would. We always taught him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group. Mm-hmm. Even when he was in college, he would say, Dad, well, we're gonna ride down to a party or something in another city. Now, so I was telling him, look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not separate from your group. Because I always say safety is in numbers. Mm-hmm. And he always said, yes, sir. So he knew to stay with his group. So why would he split from his group? I don't know.
So that would have been unusual for him to split from the group. Yeah. And you said he would always check in with you. Did he check in with you that day?
So that day, no, I don't. But of course, too.
I don't know what happened there. Okay, you guys know I got to interrupt, by the way, because I have to make this transformative. I can't just play content all the way through. But I don't know what happened there. Nobody does. But Nolan and the people who were there. His parents don't know. Strahan doesn't know. I don't know. But common sense would tell me that if you're going to an island, right, and you know that you have a ride to the island and a guaranteed ride, or at least you would suspect and you'd hope that you have a guaranteed ride from that island, that you would not take a chance and let that guaranteed ride sail away. in the hopes that everything's going to work out, that you'll be able to get a ride with this girl that you just met on a boat with people you don't know heading back to shore. You don't even know if they're going to stop on the pier or the dock that you want to stop on that's closest to where you want to go. They might be sailing somewhere else. You have no idea. So common sense tells me that it's more likely that the testimony that the girl gave, when she said that Nolan told her he was going to get back on the boat with his friends and return to shore that way. The same way that he came is the same way he was going to leave. Common sense tells me I'm more likely to believe that testimony from that girl rather than the testimony from his own friends who have now lawyered up. Not saying that that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying they lawyered up, who said that, nope, Nolan said he wants to go back with this stranger girl that he just met. Let's keep going.
They were on the boat, and usually when he is out there, which it's not uncommon, he's, I think, since last year, he's been going there occasionally with his friends. And so it would always just be like, hey, Mom, I'm back, type of thing. But this time there was no call or text from him. It was from his friend.
And then too, really didn't worry a lot about it because it was his last weekend to have fun.
Yeah.
Because that Monday he had to report to school. We was preparing to take him back for camp to prepare for the season. So, we understand he wanted to have his last hurrah before he locked down and get ready for the season. Because like I said, the entire summer he's training. He got more serious. He started to understand what I was trying to tell him about. Football not just being fun, but as you get farther in it, it becomes a business. If you want to excel, and you have to understand, and you have to understand both at the same time.
And we know, Ben, that you said that you're going to do an independent investigation.
Yes.
And you say you have Nolan's cell phone and messages were deleted. How could you tell messages were deleted?
Well, his parents got the phone back, and that's something that's important.
Wow. Messages were deleted from his phone? Well, before we go crazy with it, we have to figure out what those messages were. But I doubt that this 18-year-old whose parents are not checking his phone, let's just be honest here, parents aren't checking his phone. Why would he need to delete messages? Why would he need to delete messages from his own phone? Who is he hiding it from? He's 18. He's not married. He's not engaged. He doesn't have a serious girlfriend. He's a little kid who's buttoning into his manhood. His parents aren't going to be checking his phone. There'd be no reason for him to delete messages unless somebody else went into that phone and deleted messages to protect themselves. See, so far in this case, I'm not feeling the sheriff's department because they said no evidence of foul play before they even did their investigation. And listen, I don't like to go into politics with this, but normally I don't support Benjamin Crump. I think he's spot on this time. Like I tell you guys all the time, a broken clock can be right at least twice in a day. Benjamin Crump is spot on this time. This is turning to be not just a murder mystery, but a murder conspiracy, ladies and gentlemen. Why would the sheriff's office come out and say that there's no foul play suspected so far before they even do their investigation? Let's keep going.
Michael, because
before I know I go on tangents and I apologize, but there's so much in my brain, there's so much experience in my brain, I can't help it. We've been calling this the summer of EDPs. If you don't know what an EDP is an emotionally disturbed person. Every single day, my office is being inundated. If you're new to this channel, I'm an active duty detective. I work in special victims. Every single day, we're getting 4 to 5 essay allegations from people who are just mentally ill. Even though they're just crazy out of this world with these allegations. We take every single allegation seriously, and we do not sit there and proclaim that it didn't happen just because the person is mentally ill. We do our investigation. Now, so far as we've been doing our investigations, none of these allegations are turning out to be true. But we don't presume that it's not true simply because the person is mentally ill. How can this sheriff's office presume that there was no foul play before they even did an autopsy, before they even checked the phones, before they even interviewed all the witnesses? It doesn't make sense. I see we got Down a Rabbit Hole in the building. What's up, Rabbit Lady? How you doing? Thanks for coming through, showing love to the channel. Let's keep going.
They tracked this phone on Life 360.
So Life 360, but when I received the phone call from Warren, I immediately called my friend Tashima and I said, hey, have you guys seen Nolan? Because her two sons, Jalen and Javon, like they grew up together. They played City League sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, like, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat. So the Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So when I pulled up Life 360, it was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been. Like it had, I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. Like I'm not, he's like, but no, he didn't come back.
So I'm hoping that Crump or whoever's doing the work out there, because it don't seem like the authorities is doing what they need to do. I hope they put a preservation notice into Life 360 so they can save that information, that data, because that's huge. It's huge. It's going to show us where that boat went. Did that boat go straight from point A to point B? Did that boat deviate from where it was supposed to go? And that phone can give us a lot of information, such as the movements that the phone was being made, how quickly it went up and down, like in terms of elevation, whether somebody gets pushed to the ground or they're standing up. That phone could give us a lot of telemetry on the person who's holding the phone. That phone call will tell us a lot. If it's an Apple phone, was Face ID used to open the phone or was a password used? If every single login, 96% of the logins were done via Face ID, and now we have dozens of logins that are only done by password, what does that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? What does that tell you? It might be a good indicator that the owner of the phone is not the person in possession of the phone. That's why they're using a password instead of Face ID. There's no reason why there should be erased messages in this young man's phone unless somebody's trying to cover something up. Either he's covering something up for himself or somebody's covering something up related to crimes against him. I want to know what those messages are. Let's keep going.
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So we tracked it, and my friend Tashima went and picked it up.
It wasn't like they said we got his phone, they tracked it. And that highlights all these contradictions, Michael. The fact that they said Nolan was talking to a young woman and she said that he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys said that he said he was going to stay with her. And so that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And so then his phone ends up missing. I don't know any teenagers, Michael Strahan, who says, if you believe their story, I'm gonna stay behind and I'm gonna leave my phone. I mean, no young person leaves their cell phone. And so then there's so many things their parents were telling us about, even why didn't his body wash up with the tide on Sunday? Why would it come on Monday? It's not adding up. And that is the problem when you think about the history of Mississippi.
Yeah, so there's so many questions that need to be answered. And is there anything you'd like people to know about Nolan? What would you like them to know about your son?
Oh, boy. This is so sad. You know, they thought that they did it. How do I know? Because that's how I feel right now. I got an 18-year-old that just graduated less than a month ago who yelled at me because I came and tried to fart on her yesterday, and she was on a Zoom call with her college picking her biology classes because she wants to go into the medical field like her mother. And she's like, come on, Dad, I'm busy. I'm trying to pick my classes for the fall semester. I still tried to fart on her. I'm annoying. I know I am. You feel like you made it. It's so difficult raising children. Your first one especially is the one that you didn't know what the hell you was doing. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. At the time, I wasn't educated like I am now. I wasn't a professional like I am now. I was some hood booger from Grant Projects in Harlem trying to pretend how to be a dad. I didn't know how to be a dad. My dad walked out on me. I had no example. I had to wing it. And then you wing it and you give it your best. You give it your all. And then sometimes, God willing, they make you proud. And you feel like you made it. And look at these people who felt like they made it. And boom, somebody steals it all away from them. Now listen, we don't know if this is an accident or not. The problem is, if it is an accident, somebody's not being truthful about an accident. If it's an accident, you call it in. If you got into an argument and he fell overboard and you tried to save him and you got your hands in the water and everybody's trying to pull him up, but he can't get up and then he falls into the water and disappears, you just call the cops and tell them like it is. So whether this is purposeful and they just murdered him or if it was an accident, either way, the cover-up is worse than the crime. It always is. I could only imagine, and I don't want to ever know how these people feel, to feel like they made it, that they did it, that they raised a successful, productive human being, only for all those hopes and dreams to be snatched away from them. Let's keep going.
No,
okay.
Nolan, take your time. Nolan was very loving. He was liked by all. It was not a friend that he couldn't make.
No, we'll be right back with more for the parents of Nolan Wells and attorney Ben Crump. We're back now on GMA with the parents of Nolan Wells, Christina and Elmore Wansley. And I want you to please continue to tell us what you want the world to know about your son.
So Nolan was just like this bright light, right? Walk into a room, his smile, his energy was just so infectious. Like it's almost like he drew you into him. And he was just one of those people, like he always wanted everyone to be included. He didn't want anyone to feel left out. I remember one of his teachers emailing us. I can't remember what grade he was in, but basically it was math class. They had a special needs student, and she asked a question, and Nolan got everyone to put their hands down because he wanted that student to answer. And so the student answers the question, and she was like, Christine, the classroom, Nolan went crazy, and everyone else started going crazy, just celebrating that child, making them feel included. And that was the person he was. Like he loved everyone. And I always told Nolan, like, you have to be careful when you have such a big heart like that. I love that God blessed you with that, but you have to be careful with that because that it's not always returned, that type of love. But he was just genuinely a good person. Like I always say, all the best parts of me are with him.
And Dad, anything else you want to add?
It's just, he's gonna be really missed. I know a lot of his teammates, they all looked at him as a leader. He's more like a silent leader. Not real big on words, more on action, which is kind of like I was. I really wasn't real big on talking. I really wanted to show you, and you follow me, and people followed him. And it's gravitated. He put in the work, he worked hard, and he knew he was focused on what he wanted. And he wanted to make life better for, his family. He wanted to have his own family.
Man, this is so sad hearing his father talk about his son, man. First of all, big up to these two for being good parents, for being together, staying together, and raising such a amazing young man. What happened to him has nothing to do with them. They're victims just as much as Nolan is a victim. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for trying your best and doing your best. And unfortunately, the universe has its own plans at times. So let's keep going, man.
She said, Dad, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. I said, well, son, you got to take it one step at a time. Slow down. Let's go. Let's walk this thing out. Let's train, let's sign our deals, let's make these teams, make these.
Look at this. The father was ready. They were going to be millionaires, man. This kid was good. That's what they're saying. I don't know. I've never seen him play. But everybody's saying this kid was really good. And look, the father's already talking about this kid making it to the NFL and being a football star. He's talking about deals and a business and all this stuff. They had his life mapped out. He had his life mapped out. This is something he wanted to do. He was going to a D1 school. D1 schools don't accept you unless you're the best. They're competitors. You can't go to it was very difficult. It's possible, but it's very difficult to go to the NFL, to go to the NBA if you're not in a D1 school. People who go to D1 schools are competitors for professional sports. That means he had as much as a chance as anybody else going to school as a freshman in a D1 school this fall. He was already considered elite. So when his father talks about endorsements and deals and turning football from just fun to actually a business, he's not just some father that has wishful thinking. He had something to back it up. These schools, these athletic associations viewed his son as a future prospect for the NFL. And all that is gone now. Let's keep going.
Camps, put the work in, and everything else will work out. Even his baby brother, their bond got even stronger because now I have a big brother that he's finna do something. So now I want to outdo that. So his focus and his confidence has got even better. So I was looking forward to both of them having outstanding years.
Seasons,
He seemed like he inspired in the home and he inspired outside of the home.
And clearly you can see the father played football from the way that his build is. You know, they make you work out a certain way for you to have a football body to take that damage that happens on that football field, depending on what position you're playing. So you could definitely see 1,000% that dad played football, and that's why that was probably something that was so important to their family.
Attorney Crump, where do we go from here? What's next?
Well, the deleted messages that Christina was going to briefly touch on, we want to get the phone and figure that out.
Backtrack on that. When we finally got his phone, me and my sister went through the phone. We went in his Snapchat. He had 2 accounts, absolutely nothing. It wasn't even 24 hours, which is how long videos and pictures stay in Snapchat. And I was just like, that can't be. Like, I've seen Nolan whenever he snaps, like when he goes and he's having fun, like he does videos. Like, there was absolutely nothing, no saved videos. And even my sister was like, yeah, that's suspicious,
Michael,
you know.
We're having an independent autopsy done at the behest of his family. Colin Kaepernick helped pay for the independent autopsy. We flew his body up from Mississippi to D.C. because they wanted an autopsy done by a person with no interaction with the Mississippi law enforcement, because there's an issue of trust here that is really important. And the fact that they keep trying to say, well, suggesting it was a drowning, but nobody out there reported him drowning, it's not adding up, Michael Strand.
Right, and that's the thing, like whether he's on a boat full of strangers, right, because he went with the girl. The girl said he didn't go with her, so just please keep that in mind. But let's give deference to all these different thoughts and these different theories, right? So let's say he didn't go with his homeboys like he said he would, like he came to the island with, right? And he decided to go back with this girl that he had just met. If he falls into the water and he's drowning, why wouldn't they just report it to the Coast Guard? Why say, oh my God, he's drowning? This is water. People drown all the time. Good people drown, bad people drown, stupid people drown. You see gators swimming and some people are like, I'm going to go wrestle a gator, and they'll jump in the water and then they'll die, and they're just freaking stupid. People drown all the time. Why wouldn't you just call the Coast Guard and say, hey, listen, or call 911 and say, hey, listen, we got this guy who's in our boat. We're driving him back. He fell into the water. He's drowning. Why not just report it? Because you have nothing to fear because you did nothing, right? If you're his friends, even if you guys had an argument over a phone or something, and once again, you hit the gas because you want to get over the shore quickly, and that lurch makes him fall into the water. Maybe he hits his head on the boat while he fall in and he's dead because he drowns. Why don't you just call the Coast Guard once again? Why don't you go fish his body out of the water, bring him back into the boat, try to do some CPR, or call the Coast Guard and say, listen, he fell into the boat and we can't find him. Why would you hide it? Why would you hide it unless you're guilty of something? Mind you, it appears that these travels were happening in the middle of the day. It wasn't even the nighttime. Now, I'm not 100% sure that's what I've been reading, so if I'm wrong, please do correct me, and I apologize. But from my understanding, this stuff is happening around 3 p.m. That's midday. The sun is at its highest peak in the sky. If he's drowning, if these things are happening, why is nobody seeing it? It's very interesting stuff. And why is nobody reporting it? Let's keep going.
And it is not adding up.
And honestly, we are doing this because at the end of the day, I would hope any parent would fight for their kids to find out if anything happened, what did happen. So we just want honesty and transparency. We want a thorough investigation. We want that same respect that would be given to anybody else, and that's it. We just want answers.
Well, we really appreciate.
All right, man. So first of all, like I said, I don't follow the narratives that a lot of times people follow on the internet. I'm a detective. I'm straight about facts. I don't care about race, gender, creed. I don't care about none of that stuff. All I care about is facts. And many times we see these things and people are like, I want an independent investigation. I want all this stuff. And it's like, yo, stop it. Your relative is guilty, or your relative, did some stupid stuff. We all know what happened. Stop wasting our time. This is not one of those instances. This is not one of those instances. There's been some instances where Colin Kaepernick has been involved in people taking their own lives, and they're trying to make it look like there was lynchings and bullcrap. But this is not one of those stories. This does require an independent autopsy. This does require possibly the federal government getting involved, since it was on a waterway, even though it might be within the confines, because just because you're on a waterway doesn't mean that the feds have jurisdiction. You have to be in international waters for the FBI to have jurisdiction. If you're in like a lake, or, you're right off the coast, the state might still have jurisdiction. So I don't know whether they bring in the state police or some other agency, but we need an independent investigation, because it seems like this local sheriff's department is not up to the task. Now, somebody asked in the chat if they concluded it was a schmooicide. I got to speak funny because of YouTube. They did not. The sheriff says it's an open and active investigation, and that they're open to wherever the investigation takes them. That is a good answer. The problem is that they initially came out with a statement saying, so far, it looks like there's no foul play. You should not even say so far without you having at least 95% of the investigation done. It was too premature for them to come out and say, so far, there doesn't appear to be some foul play, when they haven't even explored what's on the cell phone. How do we know? Because the family has the cell phone, not the police. But let's keep going, guys. We got more for you guys on this one. This is definitely a very interesting case. Let's listen to some TMZ.
She is using him. Fine, he's a young guy.
That's totally fine.
It's get answers to just yet. They are not giving up, and in fact, they have hired famed civil rights attorney Ben Crump, is now representing the family. He is joining us right now.
Be right back.
The family of Nolan Wells has a lot of questions that they just can't get answers to just yet. They are not giving up, and in fact, they have hired famed civil rights attorney Ben Crump, is now representing the family.
Now, hold on here. I watched a little bit of this. The reason why I wanted to play is because Ben Crump went on here and wanted to hear what he has to say, because he's obviously representing the family. But I can tell you from the 2 minutes that I listened to, somebody said the live press conference is on now. I need that link for that press conference. I'm gonna go and find it. But I'll play this while I get that link for the press conference. I can tell you, though, from the 2 minutes I've listened to from this TMZ profile, is that Harvey did not say that Nolan Wells was frozen. Okay, if anybody watches his channel, you know what he said about Celeste Rivas Hernandez, that she was frozen. He did not say that Nolan Wells was frozen, so I think we're making progress. He didn't say it. Let's keep going.
Trying to help them get the answers about this young man who disappeared when he went on a trip to Horn Island. This is off of Mississippi in the Gulf on July 4th, was there with a group of his friends. The friends all returned home safely.
All right, so we're going to switch over to the press conference.
Race, but we're not discounting race either, because we don't know what it is.
All right, I thought this was a press conference for the law enforcement. It appears to be the family's press conference. Let's listen to it.
So to tell us don't rush to judgment saying it was racist is fine. But then I'm telling you, don't rush to judgment saying it was not racism. Because we do not know. We do know what these parents are being told and what the parents have now shared with us does not make sense. How do you end up a young, promising football player, not in trouble, mother and daddy at home, everything we tell them to do and be, they go on the 4th of July, on the anniversary of this country, going to an island, we're outing with his friends, and the friends come back, and he's left there with some story about he said leave them behind. But then by some magic, one of the friends has his keys and his phone. Mind you.
See, they just added keys. I didn't even know that. So why is Nolan giving you his keys, his phone, and I've heard there's clothing too. This is nuts, ladies and gentlemen. This sounds like foul play to me. Why am I leaving? I'm going with somebody else. Why am I leaving you everything I need to get home? Every single thing I need to get home, I'm leaving with you, my friend. But I'm going to go with this girl and take a different boat home. That doesn't make sense. Guys, please hit that like button, support the channel so we can get into the algorithm. Hit that like button so this channel could grow. Let's keep going.
His mother tracked down the phone. They didn't voluntarily tell her they had his phone. They didn't voluntarily say they had the keys. So if they had not been tracked down, we don't know if they ever would have known where it was. Some of this doesn't make sense. So we are absolutely in National Action Network and other groups.
And if you didn't listen to what Al Sharpton said, and like I said, my personal thing is I don't support Al Sharpton. I don't like what he does, but he's not lying in this instance. He's not wrong in this instance. I don't support this guy, but he's right now because check this out. It's not like they came to the parents' house and said, we don't know where he's at, man. He didn't get on the boat with us, but he left his keys, his phone, and some clothing articles with us. Here you go. Maybe this might help you find Nolan. That's not what happened. What happened is the parents tracked Nolan's phone using Life 360, and they was able to get from those friends these articles because they basically forced it. They said, yo, we know you got this stuff. Give it to us. And they're like, all right, here's everything that we got. Why wouldn't those friends call up the parents and voluntarily give them that stuff and voluntarily tell them, hey, listen, Nolan is missing? Why wouldn't they do that? Let's keep going.
To rally behind this family. I have told them that whatever we can and need to do, we will do it because this smacks of some of the worst fears that we've had historically, not only in Mississippi, but in this country. And we are there until the end with them. I've been asked by the family to be in Mississippi for the funeral to officiate, which I'm going to do. We just got off the phone with Tyler Perry, the actor who says he wants to help cover whatever expenses for the funeral.
Yeah, I can't lie. I love Tyler Perry, man. His movies are amazing. Love me some Tyler Perry.
We have with us Spike Lee is in the house. Many of our people that have always supported families are there. This is not about them trying to raise money. We're going to take care of that. This is about, though, they got to keep going forward. But we want justice. And let the chips fall where they may. If it ends up being one way that we suspect was wrong, fine. But if it's another way, don't back up and play games with this. They are not activists or lawyers. So they only want justice for their son. I'm an activist. When we get there and they say we heating things up, that's what we do.
All right, so at least he's being honest about this. So this is my thing with this case so far, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not trying to wade into politics or anything like that. You know, you guys know I'm a centrist. I don't deal with this stuff that's going on. But I'm also a detective. And when I look at these kind of cases, I'm looking for evidence of things. So when we talk about a race-based case, I'm looking at like Ahmaud Arbery. that was 1000% a race-based case. Why? When we looked at the Facebook of Ahmaud Arbery's killers, they were talking about how much they hated black people and they wanted to kill black people. In this case, we have a young man who is friends with these folks. He had hung out with these people for years. He grew up with many of them since they were in grade school. I don't know how we segue this into racism. To me, this looks like another instance of human beings being evil, possibly doing a bad thing. I don't know where this race angle is coming from. Now, I don't live in that area, so I can't say whether the police are doing their investigation because in the way that they're doing it because of bias. Somebody who lives in that area has experience with those police entities, might be able to speak for that better than me. So I'm not going to wade into those waters because it's not my place to say what people, what their lived experiences in that community. But when it comes to Nolan and his friends, you got to show me evidence that they had racial animus for me to say that this is about racism. Once again, in Ahmaud Arbery, we saw their Facebook posts, we saw their Snapchat posts, we saw their Instagram posts where they were talking about they wanted to kill black people, the son especially. How they hated the N-words and all that and wanted to go hunting for some N-words. We saw that. Where do we see that in this case? Where's the instance in this case where somebody's saying, I'm going to kill Nolan Wells because he's black? So that's why I have reservations. Now, as far as the family, I don't blame them for aligning themselves with some of these activists because they want answers. And these folks have resources that these family members don't have access to. They have money and resources to help them find justice for their son. I'm not mad at them to go whatever route they could go to try and find justice for their son. But I'm not going to be one to say that this is a race-based case without evidence that there's racial animus. And there's a reason for that. You guys heard about that story about crying wolf. You keep crying wolf, when you do see a wolf, nobody's going to believe you. So show me evidence that those friends in that boat had racial animus against their friend that they grew up with. Then we could talk. But you don't have to be racist to be a schmurderer. You don't have to be racist to lose your cool and lose your temper and do something that you will regret for the rest of your life. The only qualification for those decisions is just you just got to be human. Let's keep going.
Because sometimes you got to make people sweat to get the poison out their system. I'm the sweat man, and they are the parents that want to see justice for their son. Let me let you hear from Christine and Elmer Wansley and then Attorney Crump. Let them. Oh, okay, Attorney Crump, and then we'll hear from the parent.
Okay. Thanks, Rev. Y'all can come on up with Rev and us. We'll all be together. Thank you, Reverend Al, for always answering the bell, as you have done on so many occasions when families get the worst news of their life. And make no mistake about it, Christine and Elmo got the worst news of their life on what was supposed to be a joyous occasion where everybody was celebrating the 4th of July weekend. I'm Attorney Ben Crumpet, along with Attorney Lisa Park and Jared Presson and Camila Moore. We have the honor and the privilege of helping to lead an independent investigation on behalf of the family of Nolan Wells. Why do you say we need to be retained to lead an independent investigation? It is because the family has distrust of the Mississippi law enforcement officials giving them a fair investigation where their black son ended up dead after going out on a boat with 3 young white men.
All right, hold on here. Please hit that like button, support the channel. Hit the like button, support the channel so we can get into the algorithm. The show could be shown to a wider audience. All right, we're trying to cover every single angle of this right now. We are watching a press conference with the family, their attorney, Benjamin Crump, and the Al Sharpton as well with the National Action Network. They're talking about the Nolan Wells case.
The history of Mississippi is something that they don't just read about in books, but it's a lived experience for many Black Americans that oftentimes when our children are killed in highly questionable situations, that there is this notion that, oh, it was nothing wrong, no foul play, let's just sweep it under the rug. Well, we refuse to sweep it under the rug. We refuse to just let Nolan Wells' death be in vain. We're going to make sure that we get to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because Nolan deserves it. You're going to hear his mother and father talk about what a wonderful young man he was. I mean, doing everything right. Reverend Al, he was not only a college student, he was a great athlete. He was a model big brother for his brothers and little brothers and sisters, and he was a great son who was on the cusp of becoming a man. I mean, Christine and Elmore did everything to prepare him for this moment. He was so close. He was right there. You're going to hear his father talk about him had a good football season last year, but this season he was really ready to go to the next level, to go to Division I. I mean, the highlights that you're seeing on social media of his athletic prowess, I mean, it is all relevant, because when you start talking about drowning, I mean, this is a kid who knew how to swim. This is a kid who was in tip-top shape. He was a superior athlete. And so I'm going to get to that in a moment, these glaring contradictions, but to try to say, oh, we're suggesting it was just an accident or drowning, go ahead and move on. Well, they are not accepting it. They are not accepting it. They want to know that you have not taken the path of least resistance, that you have done a full, complete, thorough, impartial investigation, because it cannot be lost on anybody, but especially us in the Black community. If the roles were reversed and you had 3 young Black men on a boat with a young white man, and that young white man ended up dead, what kind of investigation would be being conducted by the Mississippi law enforcement officials? How many times would those 3 young Black men be interrogated? So all we're asking is the same consideration you would have given if the roles were reversed. Give that consideration to this family as well. That is our fight. The glaring contradictions just jump out at you. The fact that he is there with his friends, and you look at all the videos, it seems to be he's the only Black on the island, or maybe one other, but not many. And so,
I mean, listen, we'll have a conversation in the members only and the Patreon, because some conversations are not meant for the masses. So if you want to have more in-depth conversations and really deep dive into my mind and into your minds, then make sure that you're a member, and make sure you join our membership. And also our Patreon membership is one of the most affordable memberships on YouTube. It's 99. It starts at 99 cents. It starts at 99 cents. With tax, you're paying $107 a month to become a member of True Crime Strategic. But I just want to say this. I don't want to live in a world where we have to think like that. And I'm not in any way disparaging what he's saying. I'm just telling you, I don't want to live in a world we have to think like that, where just because you're one of a few or the only African-American with a group of Caucasian people, that somehow means that your life is in danger. I just really would hope that I thought that I do believe that we are here at a time where that's not the case, but apparently a lot of people don't feel that way. A lot of people don't, and we'll talk about that on the members. Maybe we'll do a call-in show. I want to know how people feel about that, because I just don't think that that's the America that we live in 2026. I think there's going to be isolated pockets of people being bad people and racist or whatever you want to call it. But this is not the America that I know. And I don't think that, I don't know. We'll talk more about this on the membership and the Patreon. I'll leave that there. But let's keep going.
Jared, you have where a young woman he was talking to says that, well, Nolan said he was going back to get on the boat.
All right, I'm sorry. I think what I'm trying to say is I don't think it's fair to demonize our fellow Americans just based off the color of our skins. If I'm gonna start with it, I need to finish it, and I'm gonna finish it by saying I don't think it's the right thing to do that we demonize people just because of the color of their skin. So he's one black kid on an island full of white kids, so the white kids are automatically all schmurderers. That's what it sounds like to me. I just don't feel that we should live in America like that. All right. And Frank Black says, bro, you up north people are so delusional. I appreciate you for showing me love with your $2. And that's your opinion. I hear you. Maybe you're right. I'm not even taking your comment as an insult. I don't know. Maybe you're right. And I'm open-minded enough to acknowledge that I might be wrong because I don't have that lived experience. So maybe you're 100% right, man. It is what it is, you know. But I can only look at the world through the eyes that I see. That I can only do that. I can only live and experience this world through my experiences. And my experiences tells me that that's not the case. And if that's your experience, then maybe you need to migrate, my brother. I'm sorry. If you living in a war zone right now, if you still stuck in like 1940 America down there, then why don't you get on a plane and come to 2026 with the rest of us? I invite all of you guys to please come to the north if that's what you're experiencing. Hey, let's keep going.
With the boys. The boys say that Nolan told them he was going to stay and talk to the young woman. It's a contradiction. They're not saying the same thing. One of them is telling the truth, one of them is not. We have to get to the bottom of that. It's important. And then the fact, Reverend Al, that they have this video of an argument that is going on. And you know, thank God all young people, they have cell phones, and anytime you hear people raising their voice, they start the video. And so you hear on the video, Nolan saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And that becomes even more relevant when you think about the story that they are presenting, that Nolan chose to stay behind. That's what they're saying. But
hold on.
His phone?
Somebody's at my door. I'm going to go check the door real quick, and I'm going to let you guys listen to this. I apologize.
He wouldn't take that with him if he's going to stay behind on an island? I mean, we're talking about an 18-year-old kid. What teenager would leave their phone behind if they're going to stay on this island? What teenager wouldn't take their phone? And so it's not adding up. It's not adding up at all. The fact, as Reverend Al said, you know, they didn't take his phone with them. His mother, when she finds out that her baby is missing, they start trying to track the phone, the GPS the phone. They've used Life 360, and they discover that, well, the phone is on land. The phone is on land, but you're saying he went missing on the island. And so it's not adding up. And so they go get the phone. And you hear her tell herself, when her and her sister start going through his phone, Jared, they realize that there are deleted messages, so they're trying to figure out, well, why are there deleted messages on his phone? I mean,
sorry, I missed a lot. I'm not going to go back for time purposes because I wouldn't be fair to you guys, so I apologize. I had to go check my door real quick, but I think I might have missed a lot. He might have said some evidence that might have been very pertinent to me. Do want to read a super chat from Frank Black again with another $2 super chat. Says life in the South is different, and once again, only a fool would tell people what their experience is. So I appreciate it that this gentleman is sharing his experience with us. That I don't know, and I'm trying to be educated on these things.
it becomes relevant when you start putting everything together, where we can't just say, "Oh, there's no instance of foul play." We're going to get to the truth one way or the other. The fact that, and this really makes no sense to me, Reverend Al. This notion that, well, he drowned, y'all have, I'm sure, seen all the videos out there. I mean, if he's drowning, nobody sees him drown, nobody offers assistance, nobody tries to help him. I mean, obviously, he stands out. He's, I think, the only black person I saw when I'm looking at the videos. And if you see him drowning, you mean nobody is going to try to help him? It's not adding up. It is not adding up. And that's why the family, at their behest, we had an independent autopsy being performed. And we thank Colin Kaepernick for helping to pay for that independent autopsy. And we thank Tyler Perry for helping to pay for the funeral, because as Reverend Al said, these were just regular parents going about their life. They weren't expecting any of this. And then we're having to try to hire all these experts to be able to go and see if they can retrieve deleted messages. We have to have experts. You'll hear from Attorney Park talk about, where the body was found when it was recovered, and how
now,
long.
what body cam are they talking about? When people say body camera, I'm thinking police body camera, but I do know that people do get like their own personal body cameras. And also, these are old folks. I'm getting old too, but these are like, Al Sharpton is like 100 years old. Maybe they're calling like a GoPro a body camera. Maybe he had a GoPro. That makes more sense to me, that he had a GoPro than he actually bought a, civilian version body cam, because they do have the civilian version ones, but they look like the law enforcement ones. I don't think that a 18-year-old is going to walk around and go on Amazon and buy a law enforcement styled body camera. I think more likely, maybe, and I could be on a limb, it could just be a body camera, but I think more likely he had a GoPro or something to that effect. But let's keep going.
It took to be recovered. We think all of those are relevant issues to trying to understand what really happened to Nolan Wells. And this independent autopsy.
All right, so let me see if I get to the family, because he's starting to say what we heard him say already in the other interview, which is great. But we already heard that. And we're a little behind on this, so we'll speed it up a little bit. I just want to say once again, listen, everybody has their own lived experiences. Maybe I'm naive because I live in the North, but all the Caucasian people I've met are nice people. And I'm not gonna hate my fellow American because of what one or two people do. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's my position. I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist. I'm not saying that. I'm not a numbskull. I'm not an idiot. I'm not gonna erase history. I'm not a right winger or left winger. Like I'm a student of history. I read my history. I know exactly what happened and how it happened. It's all there in the books. You can't watch the History Channel and learn history. Some people do that. You got to read the books, all right? But I'm not going to hate my fellow American. This is 2026. And I'm not going to make things about race unless I have evidence of it. Ahmaud Arbery was a case about race. How do we know this? Because the evidence showed that the father and the son were racist people. The evidence shows that. In the Karen Reed case, the evidence shows that the detective that investigated her case was a racist and a misogynist. We have evidence of that, okay? But I'm not going to assume that every single person that has fair-skinned is out here trying to kill me, and I have to be wary of them. And then, you know, that's what divides us. And we're supposed to be one nation under God. So excuse me for being patriotic. Excuse me for loving people, for serving people who come asking me for help regardless of their culture, their race, their gender, their creed. Some of the best cases I did was for transgendered people. There's a whole army. For some reason, they just always pop on because it's like a random queue. And for some reason, I got like a dozen transgendered cases where transgendered people have been victims of rape, and I solved their case. And nobody can say nothing about me in the when it comes to LGBTQIA community, because I could get a whole army of LGBTQ people who'll say, yo, this is the greatest person I've ever met in my life. They gave me justice. I done brought justice for white people, Spanish people, migrant people, black people, every color under the sun, every race, gender, creed under the sun. Because I look at everybody like human. I look at them as a child of God. And I will judge you when you show me who you are. Not because who I think you are, just based on how you look. That's it. So if I'm kumbayaing, or if I'm a naive northerner like we in 1865, that naive northerner, those northerners don't know ish. If that's what you want me, man, I'm sorry for you that you have to live in that world. I live in a world of inclusion. I live in a world of love. And I invite you to come join me. It is what it is, you know? It is what it is. So let's keep going. That's just telling you my position. Everybody can have their own opinion. You want to make this about race? Go ahead. I'm not going to judge you. But unless I'm giving evidence to the contrary, I'm an American. And I'm going to view this as an instance where possibly a bad person or bad persons did a bad thing against another person. I'm not going to assume that they specifically did it because this young boy is a child of the sun. I'm not going to assume it. I need evidence to prove that he's dead because he's black. Let's keep going. I don't live in a world of hate. And hate comes in all shades and colors. Because if you know your history, most of that Underground Railroad was white people. If you know your history, there was white people and Jews marching with Martin Luther King, dying for black liberation. If you know your history, we got here together. We got here together. And you know what's really stupid? Is when you giving somebody money to insult them. I will make sure I buy Bitcoin with your generosity, Frank. Have a nice life. Let's keep going.
Lisa Park, who is helping head up the investigation with our office.
My name is Lisa Park. I'm the senior attorney for the Ben Crump Law Office in Atlanta. It is our honor to work with the family to try to find answers in this case. I think that most of you at this point are aware of Ben Crump Law and many of the cases that we represent in this country. Some of these cases you don't know anything about until we get involved and we shed some light and we explain to the media what has happened, and you all let America know what has happened. Mm-hmm. Sometimes cases come and you all already know about it. This is one of those cases. Yeah. I saw this in the news before I got a call from Ben. This was already huge in social media, already out in general media. Why? Why? Because it doesn't take an attorney. It doesn't take a special investigator. It doesn't take someone with extreme training to know right off there's something wrong here. this is, as Ben has put it, not adding up. It is so obvious. There are so many people in this country that go missing, right? Everybody knows this. But this case has captured everybody's attention. Think about why. You know that something is not right. It doesn't take us. It doesn't take the Reverend Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, to tell you and then think, oh, now I know something's wrong. We know something is wrong. And for every single person that was in Horn Island, and we know there's about 200 people, there's a lot of people. And we know that Horn Island is a popular place during the holidays. It's a popular place on the weekends. You have to get there by boat. It's the only way to get there. You have to leave by boat. It's the only way to leave. So many people out there. If you are watching this, if you see this, and you are struggling about what to say or what to do, you know what the right thing to do is. Call Ben Crump Law. There's this thing called the internet.
All right, cool. Interesting. Now let's go to the mother. Here we go. Here's the mother now.
For being here. This is not how I wanted the world to meet my son, but here we are. So, as you know, I'm Christine Wells Wansley. I am Nolan Wells's mom. And Nolan is the kindest soul. He never met a stranger. He loved everybody. He didn't care if you were black, white, purple, green, looked like a marshmallow. Like, he just wanted everyone to be in peace with one another. He loved life, and God gave him this big heart, which always scared us. Me and his dad had conversations with him all the time, not just about the importance of understanding our history as black people, but also the importance of how you have to move in certain spaces. And it's not us being, feeding into racism or the stereotypes that comes with that. Unfortunately, that is just a matter of fact. There have been many cases, many instances that shows it's unfortunately a pattern that he did not like. He did.
Right, hold on 1 second while she's saying something so important from her experience. Big shout out to Christina, who gave us a $20 super chat. We appreciate you, Christina. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Guys, please hit that like button, support the channel. It's kind of heavy topic. We got, on one hand, this tragedy of this young man that had infinite possibilities laid ahead of him, who lost his life. And on the other hand, we have the advent of this turning into a racially charged case where, if you don't pick a side, you are basically the enemy. And that's usually where I find myself in these cases, why I don't cover them that often. There's so many of these cases, and people say, Strategic, why don't you cover these cases? Because if you don't pick a side, you become the enemy. If you're not on the side of supporting, the white side, then, you're the enemy to that side. And if you don't support the black side, then you're the enemy to that side. If you just try and play it down the middle and find common sense and common ground, people just don't like that, right? They just feel like you have no soul. So this is a very heavy topic, and I know a lot of people may not agree with everything you hear on the screen, nor may you not agree with what I'm saying as a commentator, but at least hit the like button to show that you appreciate the fact that we have the courage to talk about it from time to time. All right. My presumption is that this is a true crime mystery, and that's the way that I'm covering it. Not as it's racism, but just a tragedy that needs to be solved until evidence proves otherwise. But please hit that like button, support the channel, so we can get into that algorithm and show could grow.
Not like that there was so much division, and I think that's why God gave him us. He was really a peacemaker. He wanted, like I said, everyone to be included. He never wanted to leave anyone out. He just, even at a young age, I don't know, he was, how old was he? 18? No, not 18. When he was a baby, he did a little dance. So his father and I were having a moment.
All right, big shout out to Renegade, continuing $10 super chat. Says, just want to pop in and show some support. You're the GOAT, Strategic. I hope everyone is having a good summer. Have ice cream to get a moment of joy, even if it's for 5 minutes. Let's keep going.
And as couples do, and even in that moment, he runs in the room with his diaper.
Oh boy, that's embarrassing.
And he starts dancing because it was like he could feel the tension. He could feel that something wasn't right. So,
oh, they were having that kind of moment, like they were arguing or something like that. Okay, I get it. I see. If I have those kind of moments, my kids just jump on me. They beat me up. So I'm like, yo, what are you doing with the yo? That's our mother. And then they start beating me down. So I just walk away. Like, okay, you got it. I don't want to get jumped.
He was just a special kid. Like, he was a special kid, but again, just heart was so big. And we're gonna miss him dearly. But we are grateful, especially to our friend Tashima, who actually was one of the people who helped us that night. She went and picked up his cell phone from where it was, and then provided that to us, because we of course contacted authorities to figure out who to do the report with, whether it was the county or the city, which then turned into DMR, who I contacted immediately from there. But
Can you tell them how you got the cell phone?
So our friend actually,
all right, so this is important. She's gonna lay out again how they got the cell phone. Let's pay attention.
Called her. Nolan is best friends with her two sons, Jalen and Javon. When I called her, I said, Tashima, have you seen Nolan? He's missing. No one has seen him. No one has talked to him. The boys were actually with her sons. So they opened up their Snapchat, because a lot of the kids do have their locations where they're tracking one another. So one of the boys says, well, it's showing that, I can't exactly remember what his location was showing, but my Life 360 location was showing something completely different. It was actually showing that his phone was like he was on land. And so we ended up, she received the phone from that parent, and then we met up where his car was, which was at a separate location. There were issues obtaining the key, but even so, there was just a lot of...
Tell them about what happened with the key.
Oh, because I'm like, she's like, there's issues obtaining. What do you mean? What do you mean? Let's keep going.
I'm gonna let my husband tell you about that, because he actually went up to the door to get the key, because at that point, I was just not in my right mind.
Okay.
This has just been an awful situation.
Okay.
Just terrible.
Let's hear from Daddy.
Elmore Wansley, the father.
Okay, so the situation with the key.
Oh boy.
When we got to the house, a few of his friends, they were already there, and they were at the door in the house, asking questions. So when I walked up, they were getting, things were getting kind of tense. So I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I don't do this to me right now. I need them to kind of trust me so they can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. So the guy, he's in one of the pictures, but he came out of the room, half asleep or whatever, I think Jack's or whatever. And I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys.
Wait. They're not, this is very disjointed. How did they know that he had Nolan's keys? What was this commotion that, people were upset and asking questions? What were they talking about? What's the context of that? He said he had to calm them down. Like, there's some holes here I need to figure out, so we could get to the truth. Maybe it's just a detective in me. Like, I'm like, whoa, walk me through this. Like, when I interview people, I don't let them skip over these pertinent details. What were they saying when they were having a disagreement? What was the topic of the disagreement? All right, you said you calmed them down. How did you calm them down? All right, you said that he walked out from the back of the room to get his keys. How did you know that he or somebody else in that house had Nolan's keys? These are questions I have. Maybe he'll answer it. Let's keep going.
His car. I said, he's like,
His car was in the yard.
his car's parked in the yard.
Okay. See, this is the thing. These folks are experiencing grief. So they're not going to be linear with how they explain what happened. The car was in the yard, which meant that somebody had to move the car. So you mean these numbskulls drove Nolan's car to their house? Does that make any sense? Where's my soundboard at? Where is my soundboard?
Does that make sense?
Instead of driving his car to the parents' house or leaving it at the pier or the dock, wherever it's at, they drove his car to their house. What evidence did they get rid of in that car? I'm wondering. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. I don't even work for these people. This dude is a loser. Thanks for the money, too. Anyway, why would they do that? This is so crazy. Let's keep going.
Like, I don't know, man. Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's keys so I can take his car home? He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay. So at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because then that would be a whole other situation. So we walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jack's guy's Xbox in the house because apparently she was there with him earlier. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you done lied to me. So now,
hold on. I got to digest what he just said. This is deep. This is really, really deep. Hold on here. Let's digest what the father's saying because this sounds very suspicious stuff.
He was on the phone with a girl.
I'm gonna go back a little bit more.
Back. I can't find the keys.
Wait. I'm gonna go back even more. I'm sorry.
So I can get his car.
All right, hold on.
They were at the door in the house, asking questions. So when I walked up, they were getting, things were getting kind of tense. So I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I don't do this to me right now. I need them to kind of trust me so they can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. So the guy, he's in one of the pictures, he came out of the room, half asleep or whatever, I think Jack's or whatever. And I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys so I can get his car. I said, he's like,
his car was in the yard.
His car's parked in the yard. So he was like, I don't know, man. Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's keys so I can take his car home? He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay. So at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because then that would be a whole other situation.
Right.
So we walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jack's guy's Xbox in the house because apparently she was there with him earlier. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you done lied to me. So now I'm really like in distress with you. But as far as...
And you could tell his father probably wanted to knock this kid's block off, but he's showing a lot of restraint. I know the feeling. He want to knock this kid block off, but he's showing a lot of restraint.
As their night goes, if I knew anyone who had a boat, I would have went out that night.
And so the thing is, this is such a hard life for me because I got to moderate because Aki's busy. I don't know where my other mods are at. And you got all these crazy people who, if you don't say exactly what they want to hear, they're going to make threats against you and they're going to say evil things to you because I'm a black man and all I'm saying is we all got to love each other. That's all I'm saying. But, you know, I'm not saying what the narrative is supposed to be. So I'm trying to moderate and at the same time pay attention to the show. So please bear with me and I apologize, guys, all right? But I'm doing double duty today. All right, let's keep going.
Looking for my son.
So I want to bring it back again because I need to digest what he just said. And I apologize for you guys who are paying attention, but I need to digest what he's saying.
Because we of course contacted authorities to figure out who to do the report with, whether it's a lot of the kids receive the phone. It's terrible.
You know, things are getting kind of tense, so I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I don't do this to me right now. I need them to kind of trust me so they can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. So the guy, he's in one of the pictures, he came out of the room, half asleep or whatever, where I think Jack's or whatever. And I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys so I can get his car. I said, he's like,
his car was in the yard.
His car's parked in the yard. So he was like, I don't know, man. Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's keys so I can take his car home? He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay. So at that point, I get the boys and I move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because then that would be a whole other situation. So we walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jack's guy's Xbox in the house because apparently she was there with him earlier.
Okay.
So he goes back up to the door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you done lied to me. So now I'm really like in distress with you. But as far as their night goes, if I knew anyone who had a boat, I would have went out that night looking for my son. We tried, but I don't have friends with boats. But if I knew someone with one, I would have went out that night. And it so happened that his coach saw all the stuff on Facebook that next morning and called and contacted me at like 5 in the morning, asked me did we want to go out. And I told him yes. So within an hour, he was at the dock. We met him, and we went out. We docked the boat, got out the boat, walked on the island, walked a pretty nice stretch, came back, got back on the boat, went around the island, looked, came back around, and where we went to, that's where apparently they say that his body floated up. I don't know a lot about water currents over there, but I would think that we would have saw his body. And on the trip there was a family that stayed a night on the island, like actually tented out on the island. So if he was left, he would have saw that family on the island, and there was 2 other boats docked, so he would have had help. So I don't know. I don't know. I think we stayed there for like an hour and a half. That's when Jackson County and the sheriff department showed up, and they were going to do their rounds. And I had a classmate of mine, him and his 2 boys, they came out and they searched, and then they got back in touch with me and said the Coast Guard had finally showed up in airplanes. So
man, it's so sad, man. It definitely sounds suspicious to me. 1,000%. This sounds very suspicious to me, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep going. Please hit that like button, support the channel. Help me out here. Hit that like button, support the channel. We got a lot of haters here, a lot of crazy people who are coming into this chat. Whenever we talk about these racially charged cases, you have these insane people who come in and they're losing their mind. Mind you, true crime is strategic. My position is that this sounds very suspicious. It sounds like a murder. It sounds like it's being covered up. It sounds like it's being mishandled by the Mississippi law enforcement in the area. And even though I'm pretty much 99% on the side that this is a tragedy and a murder, just because I said there's no evidence so far that it's racially motivated, and we're going to wait and see if that comes into fruition, you got crazy people who's making threats against me and all that stuff and insulting me and all that stuff. Oh my God. So please, if you are a person of sound mind, a fair person, a person with love in your heart, show love in the chat. Hit that like button, contribute to the chat, show that love, drown out that hatred. Because like I told you guys before, hatred comes in all colors. All colors. Let's keep going.
What is so critical, what Elmore is saying, is they went out on Sunday and the tide, if it brought his body up, he went missing on July 4th, as they say. His body should have been there on July 5th. Why would it not appear to July 6th?
Now, I'm not like a expert in this, how the body floats and stuff like that, but I think there's no true science as to when that body should show up. Now, I definitely 100% believe that he was killed. I don't think that this was an accident. I think he was killed, and I think that these folks are trying to cover it up. Those kids that were there are trying to cover it up. But you kind of lose me when you're like, well, why didn't his body float up at this time instead of that time? Like, huh? You don't know if his body was caught on something. You don't know if something was trying to eat his body. We don't know yet because we haven't gotten the results from the autopsy. But there's no way of saying that at an exact date and time that his body would be floating up. I think that's a dead end to chase. But I definitely think that there's a cover up here and that this kid was killed.
That's one of those things that's just not adding up. And the fact that if he stayed behind on the island, there were boats there. There were people, somebody had to see something. That's why it's not adding up. And that's what they're saying. It's just not adding up.
Yeah. All right, big shout out to Susan Furman with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Susan, for the shades and the cool anime you got there. I appreciate you.
And if he was there 2 days, somebody on the island would be able to verify that. 2 days and nobody's come forward and said, no, he was with us, or no, we saw him. It just does not make sense. Make it make sense.
Just one last thing. We want her to talk about the cell phone deleted messages. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I thought
boy.
my voice was loud enough.
Jeez, that person was real strong with that. You're talking off the mic. I think Ben Crump's reaction was the right one. Like, oh, shit, I'm sorry. Gosh, damn.
One last thing. We want to have Christine talk about the cell phone from her perspective before they tell you who Nolan was, and then we'll take your questions.
So when we made it home, my sister and I actually went through Nolan's cell phone, particularly Snapchat, because that is so popular with the children. And when we opened it up, there was nothing. There were no saved pictures. There were no snaps from that day. And we did open it before the 24-hour expiration. So we found that very concerning, only because anyone who's ever been around Nolan will tell you at social gatherings, he's taking videos, he's taking pictures, he's even come up to me when I'm getting ready to go to bed, hey Ma, come on, take a picture of me. You know, like he just, that was Nolan. So that's why we feel that things may have been deleted, was because of the fact that there was nothing in either one of his accounts. But I do want to say this.
So what she's saying is that everything was erased from his phone. I mean, not from his phone, from his Snapchat account. The thing is, why would they erase everything from the Snapchat account? Why won't they just erase what happened in the last 24 hours? or erase whatever conversation they had with him. I'm just curious. I'm not saying that they didn't erase it. It does sound suspicious, but my question is, why erase everything and not just what you need to erase? But I don't know. Let's keep going.
Yes. I would hope that any parent who, God forbid, would be in our situation, I would hope that you would do the same thing. I would hope that you would ask for any help.
All right, I'm going to go off screen real quick so I can blow my nose. My apologies. My allergies is acting up.
Receive any help to get answers, because at the end of the day, that's all we want. We just want to know. We just want to know what happened and why our baby didn't come home. Like that's our biggest thing. And we are so grateful to everyone, family, friends, classmates, United Cajun Navy, everybody that's assisted us. We appreciate you. There's not enough thank yous that we could say or give to you, but I just, we just want.
Parade makes a good point. She said that it might have been easier just to wipe everything rather than to go for individual photos and messages. And that might definitely be the case. Like I said, I have questions, and questions need answers. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are pointing towards a specific belief. It's all a part of the process, the investigative process. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Parade. Let's keep going.
No, we want an honest, thorough investigation. That's all we're asking for. That's it.
Do you want to say about who Nolan was, and then we talk about your...
No. All right, so he's gonna talk about who his son was. I'm just gonna fast forward just a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, because we know who Nolan was. He was an amazing young man, but we do have to consider time a little bit.
Yeah, he will be missed greatly, not by us, but by the whole community.
Is his mother black, or is she like a Filipina? I get it. I get the feeling like she's Filipino, or she has Filipino in her. I'm really good with races. She looks like she might be Filipino and black, or just Filipino. And Filipino come in very, in a lot of brown shades. Let me know if anybody knows what her demographics is, or what her race is, rather.
We will announce the funeral services when it is finalized, and we'll be going to help with I will officiate at the funeral in Mississippi. Again, we'll take your questions, but identify who you are. And please be respectful. The family's in mourning, but because they want justice for their son, they came to New York to make this appeal. But let's not make this a circus. Yes.
Say that last question.
How do you know that it's Nolan saying, give me my phone when you do?
That's an excellent question. If you didn't hear it, first of all, somebody made it funny. They said they said by accident, they said she's Blackpink, but they got that Korean band, Pink. But they corrected themselves and said Blackapino, but I like Blackpink funny. That was much funnier. All right, so this is a good question this person said. She's not talking in the mic, so we can't hear what she's saying. She said, how do they know that the person who's screaming, give me my effing phone, was in fact this young man, all right, was in fact Nolan Wells? So how do they know that? It's a good question. Let me put some subtitles on. Let's listen.
Yeah. Well, you want the second one is other children who are saying it was Nolan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to answer that question, he said that there's witnesses that said that's Nolan that said that. So they watched the video, they know about the video, and they probably would play the video, and they said, yeah, Nolan said that. That was Nolan that was arguing. So that answers that question. Now, the first part of the question I didn't really hear. Maybe we'll be able to infer what that first question is based on the mother's answer. Let's listen.
So the last time we spoke and saw Nolan was July the 3rd. He actually cooked dinner for me, actually for us, because I had gotten off work. It's been really busy, and so he cooked dinner. It was salmon. He baked it. So proud. And then after that, he was just like, "Hey, Mom, I'm about to go. I love you." Gave us a hug, kiss, and he left. Which, of course, you know, he knew we always looked at the Life 360. So there were times maybe he didn't call us to let us know when he made it, but we would see it. He would text at some point, but that was the last time we saw and spoke with him.
Sir.
Two questions. First, who was doing the independent autopsy in Washington, D.C.? And the second question is, as part of your independent investigation, have you planned to reach out to the other boys and ask them to voluntarily speak to your investigation?
Dr. Roger Mitchell.
So while they're doing that, I'm gonna bring up the in the background. We'll keep listening to this press conference, but I found her Facebook page because somebody put her name inside of the chat. Big shout out to the chat. We're gonna kind of start perusing and just seeing if we're gonna learn more about this beautiful family.
Is doing the independent autopsy on behalf of Nolan Wells' family, and we understand that the young men have lawyers, so we will have to have their lawyers agree to let them speak to our investigators, and we have not attempted to talk to them as of yet. We have been attempting to talk to many of the students and people who are out there that we are aware of.
Okay. Right here.
Oh, okay. Justin Finch, Inside Edition, asking a question here. First, for the family, wondering if you recall from your friend what was said to her by the people who gave her Nolan's phone, and for Attorney Crump, wondering for you, at some point, will that phone be given to police for their investigation? They've expressed interest.
Yes.
So the exact wording of the exchange, it was through phone, because again, we were busy trying to figure out who was going to take the missing person.
All right, so she's clearly mixed. This is her mother. This is grandma. So 2 pieces of my heart gone. Hug grandma tight for me and tell her I love her. Just know, baby boy, we love you so much. This is definitely Asian. She's definitely an Asian mother, grandmother. So that's what, you know, I'm pretty good with faces and races. And so we see that Strategic was right. She's mixed. Not that it matters, but just curiosity.
Just because when it's in water, when it occurs on the island, it's not necessarily the city or the county, because then it becomes an issue of jurisdiction. So like I said, she went there and spoke with, I cannot remember, I'm so sorry, my brain is everywhere. But she went to the house and retrieved the phone. She said, I have his phone. The phone was okay. As far as like appearance goes, it didn't look damaged or anything. And so then after that, we met with her at the other house where he had stayed the night, July the 3rd, where his car was. Because it was important for us to try to retrieve everything of his that we could. But it, honestly, for both instances, it was a run around, because I know she had issues getting his phone as well. And she ended up calling me, and I think I spoke with the mother. She put me on speakerphone, and I was like, hey, you know, yes, I'm Christine, I'm Nolan's mom. We need his phone. We're trying to find him.
Yes.
I guess.
Okay, we'll go her and then you.
I guess let me answer the second part of the question. Absolutely, after our experts be able to examine the phone, we will let the Mississippi investigators examine the phone. And it's fortuitous that they have the phone, because normally in these investigations, as you know, Reverend Al, they will have the phone and stuff, and they will keep it for months. and the family just be in limbo. But thank God we have the phone now. We're going to do it expeditiously and give it to them to examine it as well.
Okay, so
Anna Schechter with CBS
so
News.
it looks like they're going to examine it first, and then they're going to give it to law enforcement. You know, listen, at the end of the day, this is a different animal. These folks are down south. They have distrust of law enforcement, and it looks like they may very well have a good reason to have that distrust. As a detective, though, I would never in a million years want anybody to examine evidence before my team is able to examine it. But then again, I can't speak for these law enforcement people down in Mississippi. I know that where I'm at, we do thorough, thoughtful, victim-focused, and in the interest of justice investigations. So I can't speak for these folks down south. But for me, hearing that would mortify me. Like, what? Hell no.
Oh my God.
Nuh-uh. You better give me that phone right now. This is chain of custody. This is a murder investigation. This is a homicide. What are you doing? But listen, like I told you guys, I'm not very confident in what they're doing out there because they came out initially and said that there's no evidence of foul play so far. And I believe that that was misguided, inappropriate, and too premature for them to come to that conclusion or even let those words come out their mouth without doing a thorough investigation. Listen, this could go anywhere. And I'm not blinded by ideology. There might be tons of evidence that this was an accidental death, and it is what it is. But this is too early to say that. Too early to say that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep going.
So you said that he stayed the night at a friend's. The first question is, did he stay with the friends that he went on the boat with?
Yes, he did.
And my second question is, has anyone come forward and provided you with other photographs or videos from Horn Island?
People keep saying, why am I wearing a jacket? I'm in a studio and I'm doing a YouTube show. We put props on. We put suits on and jackets. I'm in a studio doing a YouTube show. Come on, I'm not outside. Come on.
From July 4th that afternoon.
They're starting to send them to our office, and that's where Attorney Park was being so adamant about. Please continue to send whatever videos you got, whatever pictures you got, and we're very thankful that some young people have done that.
Good afternoon. Darla Miles, ABC 7 New York. First of all, I would like to extend my condolences to you, Mr. and Mrs. Walmsley. I know this is very brave of you, and we appreciate your transparency. Two questions. Also, my regards to you, Reverend Al, Mr. Crump. My first question is, this happened in Mississippi, and you've traveled here to meet with Reverend Al Sharpton. Why was this important to you, and how meaningful has this meeting been with you here in New York?
So we did this because, once again, what we're wanting is transparency, right? Although I do absolutely respect law enforcement, just the fact that the accidental drowning thing, it made both me and his father uncomfortable. Why are we so quick to rush to this?
Right.
And we just, at the end of the day, we want answers. This has been very impactful.
Right.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, the day they found him, we were at Port Mars.
Yeah, so if you're going to say accidental drowning, right, you're going to jump to that conclusion, right? Tell us that the narrative is that he told somebody he went to go take a swim. He just wanted to go swim. He wanted to swim back to shore. Give us that narrative, like accidental drowning from where? Did he fall off of a boat? Did he jump into a boat because he wanted to just show off and swim a little bit? Like, how did he get into the water to accidentally drown? That's the question, right? Like, you can't just jump into it's accidental drowning. Well, how? What are the circumstances of his accidental drowning? You can't tell the difference between somebody accidentally drowning because they fell off of a boat or somebody accidentally drowning because they got punched in their face and they fell into a boat. and then drowned while they were unconscious. You can't tell the difference. You can't tell the difference. So I'm trying to figure out, how did they come to this conclusion before they even did a thorough investigation? Let's keep going.
Which is one of the boat launches, and I was standing beside the water, and I had said a prayer, and I was like, Lord, this isn't what we wanted, but I just asked him to help us get through this, put the right people in our path that could potentially help us, because at that point we hadn't reached out to anybody. We didn't know where to start. This is foreign. We've never been through this. No parent should go through this. And then that's when my cousin, Keezy, she sent me a message with some information. My friend, Bianca, her sister, knows a contact with Attorney Ben. And so I said, okay, this has to be it. You know, like, this has to be God helping us along the way. And I am not religious, but I am spiritual. And for that, I was grateful, because I felt like things were being set up. And at this point, I have always said, we are taking any help. Any help. We don't care, black, white, purple. Like, again, we just want to know what happened. That's all we want to know. We just want to know what happened.
And my quick follow-up to that, were you able to get a clear explanation as to the chain of custody of his phone, like how that parent
this
came
is
in
a
possession of
this
it?
is a thing, guys. Like, when we're talking about, like, you guys are gonna look at it from your perspective. I'm looking at it from a law enforcement perspective. When we're talking about, oh, Benjamin Crump, let him have the phone first, let him do what he does, and I'm pretty sure they have their processes because he's an attorney. But we always worry about chain of custody in law enforcement, because what the defense is going to argue is, well, how did you get possession of this phone, law enforcement? Well, we got it from Benjamin Crump's attorney group. And what did they do with the phone? Well, they gave it to this private corporation that does cell phone extractions. Well, are they certified by the state as a lawful place to have this done? Who knows? Maybe the answer is yes or no. Where did they get the phone from? Where did Crump get Crump got the phone from the mother. Where did the mother get the phone from? The mother got the phone from a friend. Where did the friend get the phone from? Like, you have to have a chain of custody of these things. Otherwise, defense attorneys try and tear it apart and make it inadmissible in court. The tried and true way of having a solid chain of custody is through law enforcement. Now, I'm saying, I agree that these parents have every right to feel distrustful of the local law enforcement. Man, I've been calling that out since this show started. I'm just still concerned about what impact does this have on the case if they dump that phone and that phone has probative information that leads to homicide. What happens with that evidence? Now, before we get back into this, big shout out to BB Lee 333 with a $50 super chat. Says, highly recommend the membership. It's inexpensive. He has a ton of members only lives and videos where he gets mad realistic on us and says out loud what the rest of us only dare to think in our heads. Very entertaining. Thank you so much for the promo and for showing me that love, man. That's really kind of you, BB Lee, and I'm happy that you're enjoying your membership. And like BB Lee says, man, we encourage everybody to come and join us and be a part of our family. But please know, this is a place that's for everybody. It's an inclusive space where we have real conversations. If you're so steeped in your ideology that you're incapable of seeing other points of view, this may not be the place for you. So we do appreciate you, BB Lee. Thank you so much for your generosity. Big shout out to It's Me, Carolyn, celebrating 6 months as a White Shield. She says, the realest true crime show around. I appreciate you, man. It is what it is. Let's keep going.
And then explain the resistance. You said you went to the home to get the keys. I don't understand, like, what kind of resistance? What was that exchange of words like? The resistance that you received when you went to go retrieve his keys. Thank you.
He just acted like he didn't know where they were. He just he was like he was clueless. He was like, I don't know. Well, just please. I was like, just please go in the room and look for me, cause. Be honest with you, at that time, I was very emotional. No one was giving me an answer. So that situation with me and them could have went totally left field. But since those other young kids were in there, at that moment, they kept me from doing what I wanted to do. So getting them and calming them down, it helped me focus on what I was really there for, to find the kids.
I appreciate this, man. Big shout out to this father. I love this guy. This guy's like my hero, man. I love this guy. I love this guy. I love his restraint. I love that the fact he was mission focused, and his focus was to get that key from this guy, and he chose to be measured in his approach. It's a real man right here. Let's keep going. More of a real man than some of these men that we find in these comment sections who claim to be men but act like females with their emotions. They should be modeled. They think they fighting for this guy. They should be modeling their lives and their behavior off of real men like this who know how to moderate their emotions. Yeah, I said it. Let's keep going.
And like I said, when I asked him, he said he went and looked. And so when he said he couldn't find them, I did what I needed. I left out of their home. And like I said, 5 minutes later, he come back out with the keys. And they didn't come back outside anymore until the police came. Because at that time, police were called because we were looking for his wallet. And then they went to the door. But other than that, when they sent the keys out, they locked everything. They didn't want nothing to do with what was outside that door. So that right there is, when you lied to me, it killed all trust in anything you had to say.
All right, I'm going to take the last 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The young lady who had that hand up. Okay.
Somebody in the chat says, oh my God, men are the emotional ones, not women. I don't know. I think we're all equal. But I think in this day and age, we have a lot of men who grew up in fatherless homes. And so their fathers never taught them how to modulate their emotions, how to act as men, right? You have to be a leader. You have to be steady. You have to be reliable. And so you see a lot of men act like they have no control. So I think we all have equal emotions. We're all human. But I think that there's a standard by which we expect men to conduct themselves, not to be emotional and to be robots, but to have control, because we do have strength and we do have that testosterone, and that testosterone naturally makes us violent. It does. I took a college class called The Violent Male. That testosterone makes us naturally aggressive. And so we have to have a different conditioning than women, because we're the same, but we're different. But unfortunately, in this generation and in this day and age, where we have the advent of fathers not staying in the homes to mentor their sons and to model for their sons how to be real men, like this man right here, like Nolan's father, who's a real man, you find all these individuals in life, in pop culture, and on the internet where they don't know how to modulate and how to express themselves. And a lot of that goes to education too. There's a lot of uneducated men out there who don't know how to conduct themselves. So you'll have like a 30 or 40-year-old man saying, you goofy ass F. And it's like, a real man doesn't talk like that. Where's your vocabulary? Where's your education where you could express yourself, where you could make a thought? You could put forward a thought. You could put forward a thesis and back it up, you know? These folks don't know how to talk. You know, they're in their 40s and their 50s and they're still speaking Ebonics. All right. I don't speak perfect English, but I can express myself, you know? So that, I think there's a lot of factors in the man of today that we see lacking. And that's probably why a lot of women are single, because you guys are like, once you guys get out of those 20s and you're looking for a real man, you'll realize there aren't that many real men out there. And the real men who are out there are already taken. And so you're left with these man-child. These dudes that look like men, sound like men, walk like men, but they don't act like men. They don't know how to modulate their emotions. They're 30s and their 40s still talking like they're 19. I don't know. Just my thought. But one thing I know for a fact is that man on that stage, that's a real man. And my hat goes off to him. Let's keep going.
Go ahead.
Maria Campanodi with CNN. 2 questions for Attorney Crump, just to get some clarification on the timeline of the events. When was Nolan last seen and by whom? And the second question is, who first reported Nolan missing and when?
Well, and I asked his mother to also assist on the second question. But as it's conflicts, you know, the young woman say that he went and got back on the boat with the boys. The boys say no. He said he was going to stay with her. And that's a conflict. And the troubling thing is if they're saying, well, he made the decision to stay behind, would an 18-year-old college student say, go ahead without me, I don't want my cell phone or anything? It just doesn't add up. And so that, around that 3 o'clock time, seems to be the last time that we have those statements. However, as Christine said, they're suggesting that they didn't leave to 4:30 though. So, you know, if you said you were leaving at 3, why did you left at 4:30? And where was Nolan for that hour? And talking about, I think she was asking about the cell phone.
That's a good point that somebody said. Somebody said if these dudes thought that he was with the girl, that Nolan had went with that girl, why they took his car for? If I'm thinking we're leaving now, and we're like, yo, we're out, and he's like, no, I'm not coming with you guys. I'm gonna go with this hottie right here. I'm gonna go with this hottie. And they're like, all right, do you, right? They get over the pond before him. Now I'm giving you a hood accent, then I'm giving you a British accent. They go over the pond and they get over to the dock before him, right? They know that he's coming. He said, I'm coming, but I'm going to take a different boat. Why would you take his car? Why would you take his car? Why would he say, yo, listen, I'm going with this girl in a different boat. Take my keys, take my phone. Now he has no means of communication with nobody. Why would he do that for? Then why would you go to the other side, to the dock, and then take his keys, take his phone, get into his car, and drive to your house, leaving your boy who's coming on a different boat with no means to make a phone call, can't call an Uber, can't call his parents, can't call you, and no means to drive home because his car is at your house. That does not make sense. Oh, man, let's get the soundboard. Where my soundboard at? Where my soundboard?
Does that make sense?
That don't make no sense. That makes sense to you?
Does that make sense?
That does not make sense to me. Let's keep going.
Oh, I answered last scene. I thought you said something else.
I think authorities.
Oh, the missing. Okay.
So his friend contacted me. It was around 11:07, and then I called my friend to ask her had she seen him, because that would be the only other place I would think he would go if he were back on land. And so then when she told me no, she was like, don't worry, I'm going to look for him. And that's when we got on the phone. First I called, it was either the county or Ocean Springs. It was either one of them, but whichever I called first, I was directed to call DMR, because DMR, if I'm not mistaken, they handle cases with the island.
All right, so we're not going to be here much longer. We're going to listen a little bit more, but my son is alerting me that his big sisters are being bad. He's doing a good job. He's being the man of the house. He's trying to maintain order. So I got to go back him up in a little bit, and we might have to have a Royal Rumble upstairs, right? And he wants a haircut. So he's putting a lot of stuff on my plate. So we've been here for like what? It's got to be 2 hours we've been here so far. An hour and 58 minutes. So a couple more minutes and we got to get out of here, okay? Let's keep going.
Of the water in that area. So the young lady took the information down. She's like, I'm going to give you a call back. I said, okay. So when she called me back, she explained to me, she was like, I've spoken with the Coast Guard, which his friend had contacted the Coast Guard. Warren had contacted the Coast Guard to report Nolan missing as well. So I'm on the phone with the DMR, he's calling Coast Guard. And she said, I spoke with Coast Guard, and you're gonna have to complete the report with, I think it was Ocean Springs. So we go down to the Ocean Springs Police Department. We're told because it's a jurisdiction issue that they can't file the missing police report. Jackson County the sheriff's department ends up calling me back, I think if I remember this correctly, and she was calling to check to see were they able to do it. I told her no, they couldn't do it. The young lady on the phone and the officer at Ocean Springs Police Department spoke. He explained to her why Ocean Springs Police Department could not complete the missing persons report. She said, okay. He gives the phone back. She's like, look, I'm just going to go ahead and do it so there's no more back and forth. So my husband and I, we met an officer in the McDonald's parking lot. I think at this point it's maybe around 12.
All right, hold on here. Big shout out to everybody who's watching the show right now. We're fluctuating between 400 and 380 people. Like, just keep going back and forth. That's a lot of people that's joining us today. Please do hit that like button. We're at 394. Let's get over 400 likes. Somebody asked me how many kids I have. You know, I have no problem sharing that information. I got 3 kids. But the problem is that when you become personable on the internet, as soon as people get mad at you, they threaten your personal life. So somebody already threatened me that they're going to report me to a police department I don't work for because I said that we should love each other regardless of race. Picture that. Come on in here, Detective Strategic. We need to talk to you about what happened on the internet. You were saying the message of Martin Luther King. You're fired because you wanted people to be Americans and love each other regardless of race. So that's a problem on the internet. So like, that's why us creators are so distant from you guys, because for every good person with a good soul who just wants to get to know somebody that they're having a good time listening to, there are evil people out there who think that they're righteous in trying to be or in doing evil things. All right. So I have 3 kids, but I can't go into more details because there are evil people out there. You know, it's crazy. It's nuts. How do you sleep with yourselves at night? Some of you folks. Anyway, let's keep going.
Don't quote me on that. But we explained to him, you know, what he looked like, age, all those things. Last time he was reported seen, which again, by his friend, he said that the last time he physically saw him was at 3 p.m. and they were getting ready to leave the island.
Israel Rodriguez with the U.S. Sun. Have you been able to gather additional information made by Warren's mother, Ashley Cole, on social media, where she said the group left the island after they experienced trouble with the boat and that the boat began taking in water?
Your question is what directly? We know she made that statement.
Have you been able to gather additional information on that?
No, we have not.
Thank you. Kevin Ortega Rojas with Here's Why News. I was hoping that the family could clarify Nolan's relationship with the young men that he traveled to the island with. We've heard different accounts of how long he's known them, and I was wondering also.
This is a really good question. This guy's asking how long, because we're hearing conflicting reports on who these friends were. Some people say it's not the friends that was in that photo. That he went on a different boat with friends that were friends of his, but not the ones that were in the photo, which means that everybody would be demonizing the wrong people, by the way. I don't know. So is it the friends on the boat that was in the photo? Is it some separate friends? Is this his core group of best friends? Or is this like some secondary type friends? I don't know. So hopefully we'll get some clarification with this question. Good question from this reporter.
You folks have spoken to those families since they lawyered up.
High school friends.
Is when we found them.
Yeah.
Say the second part again.
Have they talked to the families? No.
Wait, what did mommy said? Mommy said something. Hold on here.
Accounts of how long he's known them, and I was wondering also if you folks have spoken to those families since they lawyered up.
High school friends.
Is when we found them.
Yeah.
Say the second part
It's
again.
ones something known. I didn't understand what mommy said. Oh. All right, let's listen.
Have they talked to the families? No.
Last question.
Hold on. Let me go back one more time.
Families since they lawyered up.
High school friends.
Is when we found them.
Yeah.
Say the second part again.
Have they talked to the families? No.
Last question.
They haven't spoken to the families.
Oh, man. That was so pertinent. I wanted to know. She said how long they've known them, but I couldn't understand what she said. If anybody heard that, please put it in the chat. She said something about known. This is one that family's known. I don't know. Something to that effect. I don't want to pollute your brains with bias of what I may have said. But she gave us the answer on how long he's known those kids. We just couldn't understand her response. Keep going.
I stand here as a cousin, a first cousin of a victim. In 2020, he went out with his friend and the mother, who was white, and he went missing. He was found dead, deceased, in a field behind her house. She was arrested. She was charged with failing to report a missing child.
I don't know how I like this. I'm gonna let her finish, and you guys may disagree with me, but I'm gonna tell you why I don't. So far, I might change my mind. Let me let her finish, but I don't know how I like what's happening right now.
And contributing to the delinquent of a juvenile. So your story is very familiar. Your pain, I feel it, and I will continue to advocate. I'm an activist.
See, that's the thing. Like, this is about her right now and her son. And it's like, you are now throwing a bomb of trauma onto them, and they're already experiencing trauma. I don't think that this is appropriate at this moment. I'm not saying she's wrong in saying what she's saying, but what I'm saying is, like, this is wrong. This is not the right time. Her son, this is not 5 years from now and we're in a support group, or we're all activists, activating for whatever. This is a press conference about her son who just died a few days ago, and then you stand up and drop your trauma on top of them. I don't think that that's fair. And I understand what she's trying to say, what's the question that's helping to find out what happened to Nolan? Like, what are you saying right now that actually aids in finding justice for Nolan? I just don't think it's fair.
All across the world. But today, I'm here because I stand with you.
And then it's, I'm here and I'm an activist and I'm here with you. Huh? Okay. I don't think that, I've been growing up watching these guys. I don't think that Ben Crump or Al Sharpton like it either. It's a time and a place. We're doing a press conference to try and find out about Nolan. And then you stand up and talk about your situation and say, and I'm an activist, I'm here for you. It seems kind of like self-promotional. Let's keep going.
As a cousin of a victim, I know what you feel when you don't get justice.
And then, you know what? You can never say that you know what somebody feels. In trauma-informed, that's the first thing they teach you. Never say, I know what you feel, because nobody ever knows what somebody else feels. Because you're going to experience something totally different than another person, even if you have the exact same or similar circumstances as that person. So you never say, I know what you feel. And then she goes on to say, as somebody who has not experienced justice, well, Nolan's case is not over yet. So you can't say that Nolan is not gonna get justice. So I think that this is not cool. But let's keep going.
And the system is up against you.
God bless you. Thank you. We will follow up, and when we're ready to formal announcements. Again, the funeral service is not to prompt religion. Is to seek justice and unity. And we want everybody, black, white, everybody, to come and extol.
And look what it did to mommy. Mommy, first of all, I've been bigging up the dad. But I don't in any way want to take anything away from this strong woman. This mother is like a rock. She's strong. And she's been holding her composure through this grief and pain throughout this entire press conference, giving us the information that we need to help solve this case to the best of her ability. This family's like one of the best that we've seen in this position. The way they're handling this, the way that they're articulate, and they're giving us the facts so that we can figure this out. And then this lady go and destroy her. Selfish. I am not. You guys may, oh no, I think that's okay. I think what she did was selfish. Now mommy's crying. Now you just broke mommy down. Mission accomplished? Is that what you wanted? Let's keep going.
This young man represented. It's not a protest rally. It will be to really lift up the spirit of this young man and to stand with the family. If we have to do protest rallies, that'll be announced at another time. But the funeral services is to talk about how Nolan was a great young man to his family, and we're there to comfort them. Thank you for your time. Let us.
Can I say one more
Please.
I'm sorry. So I know I have been seeing some younger people, real adults, older people doing protests. We actually had a very small one in Ocean Springs. Some young boys that knew Nolan, actually some of his friends. So what Elmore and I would like to say is, if you do, please be peaceful. Nolan was not someone who liked fights, physical fights. He really didn't even like arguments. So don't go out there trying to be tough. Just think about what Nolan would want. And I'm telling you, he would not want that type of behavior. So let's just make sure that we keep it peaceful and respectful to one another's and others, and just stay away from negativity, but also to all of those who have sent beautiful messages. We have not gone through all of them, but I want you to know that we appreciate you, your love, your support, standing with us, and just keep us in your prayers.
Yeah,
Thank
amen.
you, ladies and gentlemen.
That's good, man. Really good message. I love the fact that she ended it on that note. She's a really amazing woman. The father's an amazing man. This is a really good family. Nolan had a bright future. I think Nolan would have been a leader of tomorrow if his life was not cut short. I truly believe that there's foul play involved in this. I could be wrong. And you guys know I'm quick to change my mind if the evidence shows that. It is what it is. You know, I don't get stuck on ideology. All right. But so far, it looks like there's some foul play here, and this requires additional investigation. I'm not sure that I trust the locals so far with them saying that there's no foul play and this looks like a drowning before they even did an autopsy. Before this boy's body even dried, they was on some TMZ stuff talking about he frozen. I didn't say he was frozen. I'm being stupid. I hate TMZ. Well, I don't hate TMZ. I'm just very disappointed in TMZ for their coverage of the Madeline Soto case and the Nancy Guthrie case. But back on topic. I don't trust local law enforcement. I don't think that they're up to the task of investigating this case. And this is one of those rare occasions where I totally agree with Ben Crump and these other individuals that something's not right here, and this requires further investigation. And I look forward to seeing it. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. Maybe the truth is that this was an accident. This was a drowning, but the evidence so far doesn't look that way. And the actions of the friends certainly does not seem like it plays out that way either. All right. So I'm here to support the family. I want to find justice and truth in this. We're going to keep following this case. We made a playlist for it, so we're going to start adding to that playlist as more information comes out. But certainly, as the mother said, this amazing and strong woman, please be peaceful and please have an open mind. All right. And lastly, if this is a place for civilized discord, if you're an evil person that has racial animus in your heart and hatred in your heart, this is not the community for you. Please go somewhere else. There are other places for that. I don't want to say no names because I want no YouTube beef, but you guys know where you could go find all that crap. Please go over there. All right. I'm a professional and I look at this from a professional's point of view. And that is what informs me, my professionalism and my experience as a detective. That's what informs me. All right. Not the esoteric stuff where we hate people just because of the color of their skin. So I love you guys immensely. Please make sure you hit that like button on your way out the door. We'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.